Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you've been here before. Thank you, and thank you for coming back. Now, this is a video that I've been, I don't want to do it because I don't like talking about Liam Payne because it's all still really fresh, and there are a lot of, like, I don't know. I don't really want to do it, you know what I mean? But there are reports coming out now that people have been charged in connection with the death of Liam Payne, and I'm sorry, but I think personally that it's a cover-up. Disclaimers, these are just my thoughts and opinions. I speak on behalf of nobody else, and that's kind of also why I'm doing the video, because I've tried to talk to other people, and I think I'm the only one thinking it, and, like, I just want to put it out there because these are my thoughts and opinions, and, like, if I can't converse with other people about it, I'll tell the world at one go. And please let me know if you think that there's anything in what I'm thinking, because I think it's dodgy as fuck. Also, disclaimer, I swear, because I don't have a filter. My channel's not monetized, so go and put that in there. No ads with me, guys. So I can't get my channel demonetized for swearing, and I've not been told off for it by anybody, but I understand that might put people off. But basically, just my whole channel, apart from being fathoming ways to overthrow the patriarchy, is which is that caught underlining. I just have a real bugbear for truth and logic, and I'm not. There are glaring inconsistencies. Now we'll go back. I'll give you some sort of so you can get in my headspace. So I always have, where there's any conspiracy theory going on, I usually have one thing that I stick to, right? I actually woke up in the night last night. That's why I'm forcing myself to do the video, because I was up last night, and it's, if I'm told, don't go into it, Kerry Ann, they don't need to know this. But I have a history of just one thing. It's like, get past this one thing and I'll listen to everything else, right? But if I can't get past that one thing, I don't give a shit about the details. And this is where it will come to, where it will be with Liam Payne. So I'll go through some of the other things so you can get the way that my mind works. So, for example, the things that I wrote down when I woke up in the night, I had a really bad night's sleep last night. Could not sleep for shit. And part of it, I had to get up and write this down because otherwise my brain wouldn't have let me. Right. Moon landings. That's the first. Actually, it was 9/11, right? I think. Moon landings was the first thing I actually had an opinion on online, right? And the one thing I can't get past with the moon landings, I watched this video, somebody had made this video about the distance of the moon landings. And they'd got a basketball court, and all the way down this basketball court, there were basketballs, right? All the way down. And at the beginning, the first ball was Earth. And the ball right at the end of the basketball court was the moon, right? And that's how far the moon is away from Earth. And then they stuck a pin in this football this long with a little shuttle on it, right? And said, right, this is the furthest away we've been from Earth ever before or since we went all that way over there. And that's why it's like, explain to me why we've never been through the Van Allen belt. But explain to me why in all the history of space travel, we've only been that far away from Earth, relatively, and yet the moon is the other end of a basketball court away, right? That. JFK, let's just go through them all, shall we? JFK, explain to me how you can shoot a man in the back of his head and the back of his head blow out. Physically impossible. Now, we've seen since then uber loads of movies and things like that. If you used to go on rotten.com, you've seen actual footage of it. That's not going anymore, which is a bit of a bugger. Not a bit of a bugger, it's not something I've frequented a lot. A couple of decades ago, I did have a look at some nasty shit, right? But if you shoot somebody, the opposite end of that, so that guy was shot in the face. There is no two ways about it. There is zero way JFK was hit from behind, because the back of his head fucking blew out. Right? So that's them two. What else have we got written down here? 9/11. Let's go with 9/11. The one thing, explain to me how come the Pentagon knew for an hour and a half that a plane was coming to fly into it, and never once did they fire off the ground-to-air missiles underneath the front lawn. They just let it hit. Explain to me that, and I'll listen to the fucking rest. All right? What else have we got? Got anything else on here? Madeleine McCann. The one thing I got, why did her mother refer to her perfect little genitals? There's so much with Madeleine McCann, mate. It's like, but explain to me why her mother, when she's missing, why both her mother and her father can't get the image in their head of her perfect little genitals torn apart. Why would that be in both of their heads if they'd never seen it? Right? And the other one I've got down here is the Bible. Genesis is the answer I wrote down to that one, and then I went back to the I just can't get past Genesis. That's why I was kicked off the Jehovah's Witness Bible study course after a year and a half, because there's no getting past Genesis. Because if that, like, literally the idea of God giving his babies to Satan just so that they'll come back praising him is like me giving my fucking when my kids were little, is when I used to use this analogy. They're grown up now, thankfully. It's like me taking my little kid, giving them to the bastard, an absolute bastard that lives over the road, who says, I can look after your kids better than you can, and me going, here you go, then raise them, and standing there and watching them every day as that person screams at them. I couldn't do it. And that would make me better than God, and God's meant to be perfect. So all of those things, right? This is the way that my head works. With Liam Payne, there are two things, actually. The way this is going, right, is that people are being prosecuted left and right, and it's all about drugs. It's all about supplying of drugs. And drugs did not kill Liam Payne. Drugs didn't kill him. He wasn't killed by drugs. I do not know what killed Liam Payne, right? But I know that I can be pretty confident in saying that what's coming out of Argentina is utter bollocks, right? Because the one thing, I'll mention the second thing after, but the one thing that I can't get past with Liam Payne is there were traces of cocaine, traces of alcohol, and traces of a prescription antidepressant in his system. And they're painting him out to be some kind of drug-crazed fucking animal. And I think it's sick, and I think it's wrong, and I don't believe them. Because, like, they're saying, oh, he ordered 8 bottles of whiskey, and another report they're saying there were wine stains and wine in his room. So this geezer's off his tits. Oh, he's meant to have ordered 7 grams of cocaine off this one employee, 6 grams of cocaine off Roger Norris, and Roger Norris, however you pronounce it, Norris. He's like, oh yes, this is of excellent quality. So Norris is on fucking drugs as well, because how would you be able to claim that cocaine is of an excellent quality if you've not tried it yourself? Unless you're a dealer and all your clients saying that. And why would it be a dealer when he's a multi-millionaire? Right? But if he'd been in a catatonic state, or like convulsing, and having to be dragged up to his room and this, that, and the other, he'd be pickled with the fucking stuff. You'd say, yep, it was like the drugs alone were enough to kill him. You know what I mean? Like with Kurt Cobain. Like, let's add Kurt Cobain with that to the list. You can't fire when you're out off your tits on drugs and therefore sweaty. How can you fire a gun and not leave a bloody fingerprint on the trigger? Get past that and I'll believe something else to do with Kurt Cobain. You know, like there's just, if you pick one thing and don't let it go, because I see people that like I respect who are going like, yeah, you know, like, and talking about the drugs. But the drugs weren't in his system. Traces of does not mean he's had what? That alone is 13 grams of cocaine. And it said traces of cocaine within the last 72 hours. So in the last 72 hours, they know he'd taken some kind of drugs and whatever. But they would have said the drugs alone, he was off his tits. He could easily have just fallen off just because he was so pissed. But no, traces of. And then the other thing, which I should just add on, is the fact that this guy, and it says in the bloody police report that he was unconscious when he fell. So tell me how he fell over a balcony and ended up over fucking there. Not underneath the balcony. He ended up 6 foot away. I don't know the actual dimensions, right? I don't know the distances, but he ended up so many feet away and so many feet off to the right. Now, you tell me when you collapse, and even if he collapsed and went over the... But how did he get the fuck over there? What did it... Was it like, oh, he just suddenly turned into an angel, flew a bit, then thought, oh, no, I won't bother, and blur. Do you know what I mean? And I think that this is just a massive cover-up. They've been trying to tarnish Liam's name right from the second that lad passed. They've been trying to tarnish his name and make out he was some kind of bloody beast. Do you know what I mean? And that guy, you know, like his name has been dragged through the mud, and now everybody's just believing it because the news says so. Now, I watched just to point this out, and I wish I could find it. I swear I saved it in one of my playlists, but I don't know which one I've got to go through. Right, and I think it was Law and Crime Network, but don't quote me, right? But there was this fella, and he was going through the death of this celebrity woman, right? And she was in Argentina, more specifically Buenos Aires, right? And the tale he told of cover-up, of lies, of corruption within the police department, within the judicial system. I watched it and I'm like, do you know what I mean? This was like, a fair few weeks ago now, but after Liam had passed, and I'm like, well, that, you know, like, why are we believing these people? They have proof. Obviously, you've not seen this video. Maybe you have. If you have, like, let me know what it is, please, because I can't find it. But this told, and this guy, excellent research work. Excellent. And it just told the most damning tale of Buenos Aires and the corruption therein. Now, you tell me, if something had happened, if he was thrown over that balcony because he just got into a fight and, you know, like 25 injuries, all conducive with death. How? Do you know what I mean? He fell off a 3-4 fucking balcony. Actually, my son knows, he works with a lady who fell off a balcony. She fucked her face up well bad, but didn't kill her. I think she was only on the 2nd floor, to be fair, but it might have been the 3rd floor, but I think she fell off a 2nd floor balcony. And, you know, like, I'm not saying that he'd have survived that fall. What I'm saying is, what if he wasn't alive when he went over? But it wasn't a fall. Because you don't fall over there. You don't do it. Physically impossible. So explain to me how come he's all of the people involved, they're saying, who are being involved they're directly responsible for his death, and all of it is to do with drugs. All of it. Thus for tarnishing his name forever. I know, I'm sorry, but I won't. I hold my hand up, right? I will not lie to you, because like I said, I'm all about the truth, right? I thought he was a spectacular douche canoe when he was alive. Never liked it. Well, obviously I like One Direction and whatever. Never. I always thought he was a bit arrogant. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to lie now and say that I was always a fan, just to, just so that I don't look dodgy. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm about the truth of this matter. That's what I want us to get down to. And the way that, you bet your bottom dollar that Roger Norris, that dude, he'll get away with it. He'll get away with it, and that dude is in my personal opinion, guilty of more than abandonment. I'm sorry. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know how you think he could have taken 13 grams of cocaine and only traces of it turning up in his system, and let me know how he got over there when he wasn't even conscious when he fell. Wasn't even conscious when he fell. And yet he managed to. Am I overthinking it? No, please, let me know what you think, because obviously, I mean, you know me, I love my comments, I love to know that people are listening. And I hope that I've been offensive by doing this video, because I really don't want to cause any offence. Despite what I thought he was like as a celebrity. And I'll just say, I've said it, I've done 2 videos about this before, over the time. And the whole P. Diddy thing, another thing that was just thrown out there, in my personal opinion. He appeared on Graham Norton and just told an innocent story. Now, he might have gone back there after that, because he looked quite young in that video. I don't know when it were. But it was just an innocent story of an innocent young lad wanting to play with the big boys and making himself look like a tit. And people didn't see it like that, because there are, people will, and I am overanalyzing this, I'm sure. Do you know what I mean? But I'm overanalyzing the actual facts. Tell me how you can only have traces of cocaine in your system when you've snorted half of Colombia. Tell me how you can only have traces of alcohol when you've been on wine and 8 bottles of whiskey. Somebody educate me, please. Anyways, I'm leaving that there, because I've got to go, because I don't like it. Please don't hate me. I've done it now, anyway. But yeah, if you've made it to the end, I owe you a bevy, which is probably really quite an insensitive thing to say at the end of this particular video. But I won't get you smashed, and I definitely don't do cocaine. But yeah. Please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, all that lovely schnuckly business. Thank you for being here. Please come back, and never forget that I love you all.